Hey, here's a list of my top 20 films of all time. These 20 aren't objectively the best films I've ever seen, but they're my favourites. This list changes all the time when I find new films that I love, or I remember just how much other movies mean to me, so don't expect these rankings to stay like this forever. Okay, let's get into the list. Fantastic Mr. Fox is almost perfect. I have a complicated relationship with Wes Anderson's directing style, but I think it works almost flawlessly here. The animation is stunning, and every performance is so memorable. The Truman Show is fantastic. The narrative is beautiful, and Jim Carrey's performance is awe-inspiring. There's genuinely nothing I dislike about this film. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is my favourite musical ever made. Tim Curry is brilliant as Dr. Frankenfurter, and the film is a huge step forward for representation in Hollywood. It's iconic, and every song is a banger. I wrote the script of this video while listening to the soundtrack. My personal favourites are Sweet Transvestite, Time Warp, Touch Me, and Eddie. The 2022 remake of All Quiet on the Western Front is genuinely perfect. It's my favourite war movie of all time. Felix Camara delivered one of the best performances that I've ever seen. The cinematography is jaw-dropping, and the anti-war message is beautiful yet heartbreaking. Recently, I watched a brilliant video on this film by Storytellers. It's one of the best film essays I've ever seen, and I strongly recommend that you go watch it. Austin Powers is hilarious, and every member of my family quotes it daily. In my opinion, it's Mike Myers' best role by far. Up is my favourite Pixar movie of all time, and is the first film I remember making me cry. The married life section of the film alone is a heart-wrenching look at love and grief. The animation is superb, the performances are brilliant, and the music is wonderful. Life of Brian is my second favourite Monty Python project. Every line is hilarious, and is so easy to quote. Half the things my dad says are from this film. Holy Grail is somehow even better than Life of Brian. Every person I've shown this film to has laughed non-stop throughout. I've seen it about 5 times now, and it still makes me almost cry with laughter. Life is Beautiful is objectively one of the best films I've ever had the pleasure of watching. The comedy of the first half of the film is brilliant. Me and my friends were laughing throughout this entire segment. Later in the film, the dichotomy of the light-hearted, hilarious intro and the traumatising third act was so spectacular. Life is Beautiful is one of the most devastating films I've ever seen, and I strongly recommend you watch it. The Grand Budapest Hotel is my favourite of the 4 Wes Anderson films I've seen so far. It has the best cinematography I've ever seen, even better than The Batman in my opinion. Every shot is so gorgeous, and I love the colour palette of the film. The performances by Ralph Fiennes and Tony Revolori were so entertaining, and the plot was just lovely to experience. The Breakfast Club holds a special place in my heart. As I said in my 2022 recap video, which you should watch if you haven't already, I absolutely love films that manage to show a narrative and character development without any major plot points. I love just listening to dialogue between characters, especially when they're as interesting as the characters in Breakfast Club. Fight Club is a near-perfect look at mental health and how it affects the lifestyle of those that have issues relating to it. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt are fantastic, and the story itself is so captivating. I know I'm breaking Rule 1 and Rule 2 right now, but shut up. I don't care. I do prefer the actual Fight Club half of the film to the Project Mayhem segment, but both were really enjoyable. Alright, I already had this entire video recorded and edited and ready to go, but then I watched this film and I just had to add it in here. Sorry about my voice, I'm really sick at the moment, but I need to get this video out. It's Such a Beautiful Day is by far the most devastatingly beautiful film I've ever seen. No film has ever left me sobbing in my chair quite like this one did. The narrative of this film is shocking. It's splendid, it's mortifying, and at times hilarious. It's Such a Beautiful Day transitioned from one of the weirdest, funniest films to easily the most heartbreaking. Bill's tale in this film is such a tragic one, and it is accompanied perfectly by the narration of director Don Hertzfeldt. Hertzfeldt's deadpan voiceover presents a flawless mix of hilarity and sincerity, of comedy and sympathy. To me, this film is perfect. 12 Angry Men is perfect. There's no other way to describe it. I enjoy this mainly for the same reason I enjoyed The Breakfast Club. The dialogue. I find it so impressive whenever scriptwriters are able to convey a captivating story using nothing but conversations between characters. Every moment in this film is memorable, even though there are no major events or action sequences. The scene in which almost every juror leaves the table during Juror 3's racist rant is one of my favourite scenes from any film ever. It's just brilliant. There's nothing to say about Star Wars that hasn't been said already, but that's not going to stop me. This film has influenced my life more than anything else I've ever watched. The entire franchise means so much to me, even if it has been cheapened in recent years. Me and my dad share such a strong love for Star Wars, and it's one of the reasons we're so close. No matter how much I dislike some of the projects that have recently come out of the franchise, nothing can take away from the brilliance of the original. I don't think I've ever smiled harder than when I went to Galaxy's Edge in Disney World in Florida, and I saw the life-size, well, not life-size, it doesn't exist, but what would be the life-size Millennium Falcon. It was amazing. Just a disclaimer, Quentin Tarantino is a terrible person. I know it's hypocritical of me to say that and then go on and say Pulp Fiction's my 5th favourite film, but I can't change my enjoyment of it based on the things he said. If I couldn't enjoy films based on what the directors were like as people, then I wouldn't be able to enjoy 90% of Hollywood films, especially when you look at who produced a lot of them. In my opinion, this is Quentin Tarantino's best work by far. The story is so masterfully crafted, and the non-linear portrayal of it is just fantastic. I love absolutely everything about this film, apart from Tarantino's self-insert character. I love the beautiful cinematography, the spectacular performances, and the iconic dialogue that accompanies them. I own the wallet from this film, along with Jules' ID. I was even going to make a quote from this film, my yearbook quote, but I went with an Austin Powers quote instead. Although the original Star Wars means more to me from a sentimental standpoint, I prefer Episode 5 as a film. In my opinion, The Empire Strikes Back is a perfect sequel. I've never seen a story continued across multiple films this well. It's just brilliant. The impact this film in particular has had on both me as a fan and the film industry as a whole is an amazing thing to see. This film is awe-inspiring. I used to watch it in my room every week when I was about 6. Also, it had the best levels in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and I'm not taking any arguments about that. Into the Spider-Verse is perfect. It's genuinely flawless. Shameik Moore is absolutely incredible in his role, creating my favourite portrayal of Spider-Man in any media. Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and Shameik Moore is a brilliant one. Spider-Verse has the best animation I've ever seen. It's spectacular. Pun very much intended. Animation is so important to me, and to film as an art form. I want to make a video on the importance of animation, and how Spider-Verse affected modern animation, so let me know if that's something you would like to see. The Batman is, in my opinion, the best superhero film ever made. Greg Fraser's cinematography is stunning, Michael Giacchino's score is one of the best I've ever heard, Matt Reeves' direction is splendid, and Robert Pattinson's performance is so brilliant. Everyone doubted Edward Cullen, but he did such a fantastic job here, delivering the second best performance I've ever seen him give. He was even better in The Lighthouse. This is the best film about taxes I've ever seen. In my opinion, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the most creative, awe-inspiring, emotional film ever made. That I've seen, at least. Every performance is perfect, the cinematography is beautiful, and the plot is tear-jerking. A silent scene with 2 rocks and some text made me cry in the cinema. Everything Everywhere All at Once says so much about love, about family, about relationships, and about just how stupid everything in our lives is. To me, the film is a flawless piece of art that I will always love. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to try and release at least one video every month, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. Leave a comment with your top 20 films and I'll rate them. Follow me on Letterboxd to see everything I watch as well as my watch list, and follow me on Instagram for in-depth reviews of every film that I watch. Bye!